If you apply this principle for just one day, you'll feel an immediate shift in your thinking and your relationship with money. And if you apply it throughout your life, you'll transform your financial and family destiny forever. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to have a magnet for abundance, while others constantly struggle to make ends meet? What if your salary stopped disappearing each month like sand through your fingers? What if you could build wealth instead of debt, create a legacy instead of worries? The answer isn't in earning more money. It's not in finding the perfect job or waiting for circumstances to change. The answer lies in a secret that has kept one community prosperous for over 3,000 years, even during history's darkest moments. Today, you're going to discover the 5 fundamental principles that Napoleon Hill identified when he studied the wealth patterns of the world's most successful Jewish families. These aren't financial tricks or complicated strategies. They're principles so simple you can start applying them today, before this day ends. Did you know that 85% of people live paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how much they earn? Did you know that 70% of families don't have a real budget and spend their money without knowing exactly where it goes? Meanwhile, there exists ancient wisdom that has proven, generation after generation, how to create abundance even in the most difficult circumstances. I'm not talking about theories. I'm talking about a proven system that has survived persecutions, wars, exiles, and economic crises. A system that doesn't depend on luck, government, your boss, or external circumstances. A system that depends solely on you and your decision to apply these principles. What if you could break the cycle of financial anxiety that you may have lived with for years? What if you could look at your bank account without feeling that knot in your stomach? What if you could sleep peacefully knowing you have control over your economic future? This isn't an empty promise. It's the result of applying 5 principles that have worked for centuries and that Napoleon Hill documented after studying the most prosperous people of his era. Principles you can start experiencing today, literally before the sun sets. If there's something these families understood generations ago, it's that wealth isn't coincidence. It's not luck. It's not inheritance. It's the natural result of applying certain fundamental principles consistently. And most powerfully of all, these principles work regardless of your current situation, your age, your profession, or how much money you have right now. Today you're going to learn the 5 secrets of Jewish wealth that Napoleon Hill discovered and documented in his deepest research. These principles have been the foundation of prosperity for millions of families for generations. And by the end of this content, you will have the exact tools to begin your own financial transformation. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Here every week we share proven principles that will change your way of seeing wealth, discipline, and life. These aren't superficial tips or temporary motivation. They're real systems that have created real abundance in real people's lives. Why are these principles so powerful? Because they don't focus solely on money. They focus on mindset, habits, family structure, and spiritual relationship with abundance. They're a complete life system that generates wealth as a natural result. A single day of practice might be enough so you never want to go back. Because when you experience the power of having control over your impulses, when you feel the peace of having a clear plan, when you discover you can directly influence your financial destiny, something changes forever inside you. History shows us fascinating data. During the Middle Ages, when most of the European population was illiterate and lived in poverty, Jewish communities had literacy rates close to 100%. Not by chance, by principles, because they understood that knowledge is the foundation of prosperity, and that financial education is as important as any other education. When they were expelled from entire countries, losing all their material possessions, they rebuilt their wealth in new lands because they carried with them something no one could confiscate: correct principles, correct mindset, and correct habits. This isn't theory, this is documented history. Napoleon Hill spent years studying these patterns. He interviewed the most prosperous families of his era and discovered that regardless of their ethnic or religious background, those who built lasting wealth applied these same 5 fundamental principles, the same ones Jewish families had perfected for centuries. What's the secret behind this success? It's not a single factor, it's 5 pillars that reinforce each other. The first pillar is mastery over impulses. The second is the survivor mentality. The third is the sacred organization of money. The fourth is family alliance. And the fifth is understanding that money is energy that must flow. Each of these principles alone can change your financial life. But when all five work together in your life, they'll create a transformation that goes beyond money. They'll create a transformation in your character, your family, your legacy, and your life purpose. The difference between this knowledge and common financial advice is that these principles attack the root of the problem, not the symptoms. They don't tell you what to do with the money you already have. They teach you how to think and act so money naturally comes into your life and stays. Today, you won't just learn these principles. You'll receive a specific plan to implement each one of them, because knowledge without action is just entertainment. And you're not here to be entertained. You're here to transform your financial reality. Master the inner beast. Within every person live two forces, one that builds and another that destroys, one that saves and another that spends, one that thinks about the future and another that only lives in the present. The difference between those who build wealth and those who destroy it lies in which of these two forces has control. The Jewish families Napoleon Hill studied understood something fundamental. Wealth's greatest enemy isn't external circumstances, but internal impulses. It's not lack of opportunities, but lack of self-control. It's not lack of money, but lack of discipline to handle it correctly. Have you ever bought something you didn't need simply because you saw it and wanted it? Have you ever spent money you had designated for something important on something completely unnecessary? Have you ever felt like you don't have control over your spending, as if an invisible force pushed you to buy? That force exists. Psychologists call it instant gratification. The wise called it the inner beast. Marketing specialists know it perfectly and design million-dollar strategies to activate it. But you can master it. The first secret of Jewish wealth that Hill documented is the 7-day principle. Before buying anything that isn't absolutely essential for survival, wait 7 days, not 7 hours, not 7 minutes, 7 complete days. Does it seem simple? It is. Does it seem easy? It's not. Because during those 7 days, the inner beast will fight with all its strength. It will tell you that you need that purchase right now. It will tell you it's on sale and you won't find that opportunity again. It will tell you that you deserve it for working so hard. But here's the secret. After 7 days, 90% of purchase impulses disappear completely. Not because you can no longer buy what you wanted, but because you realize you never really needed it. During these 7 days, something powerful happens in your mind. You begin asking questions the inner beast never allows you to ask. Do I really need this? Does this bring me closer to my financial goals or take me away from them? What would happen if I invested this money instead of spending it? An average family could save between 20 and 30% of their income simply by applying this principle. Not by earning more money, not by changing jobs, just by waiting 7 days before buying. But this principle goes beyond saving. It teaches you something worth more than any amount of money. It teaches you that you have control. It teaches you that you're not a slave to your impulses. It teaches you that you can choose your response to any stimulus. The most prosperous families Hill studied had a common characteristic. Their members had developed the ability to delay gratification, not because they were miserable or stingy, but because they understood that delaying a small gratification today allowed them to obtain a much greater gratification tomorrow. What happens when you apply this principle? The first thing you'll notice is a sensation of personal power. For the first time in a long time, you'll feel that you have control over your money instead of your money having control over you. You'll feel that your decisions are aligned with your goals instead of being in conflict with them. The second thing you'll notice is that your money will begin accumulating naturally, not because you received a salary increase, but because you've stopped bleeding it with impulsive purchases. The money that previously disappeared without you knowing where will now remain in your accounts. The third thing you'll notice is that your relationship with material possessions will change completely. You'll begin valuing what you already have. You'll begin buying only what you really need or what genuinely makes you happy long term. You'll begin feeling abundance with fewer things. But the most important thing you'll notice is this. When you finally decide to buy something after waiting 7 days, you'll enjoy it much more, because it will be a conscious purchase, not impulsive. It will be an investment in your happiness, not a reaction to a stimulus. This is the first and most fundamental secret. Before you can build external wealth, you must develop internal wealth. Before you can control your money, you must control your impulses. Before you can master circumstances, you must master the inner beast. Power isn't in earning more money. Power is in consciously choosing what to do with the money you already have. And that conscious choice begins with 7 days of waiting. Survivor mentality. There's a fundamental difference between victim mentality and survivor mentality. The victim asks, "Why is this happening to me?" The survivor asks, "How can I use this to my advantage?" The victim looks for someone to blame. The survivor looks for what they can learn. The Jewish communities Napoleon Hill studied had perfected survivor mentality through centuries of adversity, not by choice, but by necessity. And that mentality became their greatest economic asset. What's the practical difference between these two mindsets? The financial victim says, "I don't have money because they don't pay me enough." The financial survivor says, "How can I create additional value to increase my income?" The victim says, "The economy is bad." The survivor says, "What opportunities does this crisis create?" This difference in mindset isn't just psychological. It has real, measurable economic consequences. Studies show that people with survivor mentality earn on average 40% more during their working life than people with victim mentality, not because they have more luck, but because they actively seek opportunities instead of excuses. Why is this mentality so financially powerful? Because it changes your focus from what you can't control to what you can control. Instead of spending mental energy complaining about circumstances, you spend that energy looking for solutions. Instead of waiting for someone else to solve your problems, you become the solver of your own problems. Survivor mentality is based on 3 fundamental pillars. The first pillar is total personal responsibility. This means accepting that your current financial situation is the result of your past decisions, not external circumstances. This isn't to blame you, but to empower you. Because if your decisions created your current situation, your future decisions can change it. The second pillar is creativity in the face of adversity. Instead of seeing problems as obstacles, you see them as puzzles to solve. Instead of seeing crises as tragedies, you see them as disguised opportunities. This perspective doesn't arise naturally. It must be consciously cultivated until it becomes an automatic mental habit. The third pillar is consistent action without guarantees. The victim waits to have guarantees before acting. The survivor acts based on probabilities, not guarantees. They understand that life never offers guarantees, but always rewards intelligent and consistent action. How do you apply this mentality to your financial life immediately? Start by changing your questions. Instead of asking yourself why you don't have enough money, ask yourself how you can create more value in your current job. Instead of asking yourself why prices are so high, ask yourself how you can increase your income so prices don't affect you. Instead of asking yourself why your boss doesn't appreciate you, ask yourself what additional skills you can develop to become indispensable. Instead of asking yourself why the economy is difficult, ask yourself what services or products people need precisely because the economy is difficult. Survivor mentality also changes your relationship with financial failure. The victim sees financial failure as evidence they're not destined for prosperity. The survivor sees financial failure as valuable information about what doesn't work, which brings them closer to discovering what does work. Did you know that 80% of millionaires have experienced at least one significant bankruptcy on their way to wealth? Not despite their failures, but thanks to what they learned from their failures. Each financial failure taught them a lesson that success never could have taught them. Survivor mentality makes you see that every economic crisis is also an economic opportunity. During the Great Depression, while millions of people lost everything, some individuals with survivor mentality built enormous fortunes, not because they were insensitive to others' suffering, but because they saw opportunities where others only saw problems. During the 2020 pandemic, while many businesses closed, other businesses were born and prospered. The owners of these businesses didn't have special powers. They had survivor mentality. They asked, "What do people need now?" instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" The decision to adopt survivor mentality isn't a decision you make once. It's a decision you must make every day, every hour, every time you face a financial challenge. It's the decision to be the protagonist of your financial story, not the victim. When you make this decision, something magical happens. You begin noticing opportunities that were always there, but your victim mind couldn't see. You begin acting on those opportunities because your survivor mind tells you that action is your only real option. Survivor mentality is the key that opens all other doors to prosperity. Without it, all the financial advice in the world is useless. With it, even the simplest advice becomes powerful. The sacred budget. In Jewish tradition, the seventh day of the week is sacred. It's not just a day of rest. It's a day of order, reflection, and planning. Napoleon Hill discovered that prosperous Jewish families applied this same principle of sacred order to their personal finances. The budget wasn't for them a tedious obligation or limiting restriction. It was a sacred act of organization that gave them power over their financial destiny. It was their map to abundance, their compass in the midst of economic uncertainty. Why do most people fail with budgets? Because they see them as a prison that limits their financial freedom. But the truth is exactly the opposite. A well-designed budget doesn't limit you, it liberates you. It doesn't take away options, it gives you more real options. Without a budget, your money behaves like water spilled on the floor. It spreads in all directions and disappears without you knowing exactly where. With a budget, your money behaves like water channeled in a pipe. It flows with purpose and power toward where you decide it should go. The sacred budget these families developed had 5 fundamental components. The first component was the tithe of the future. 10% of all income was automatically designated for savings before any other expense, not after paying everything else before. This money was untouchable, sacred, destined exclusively for the future. The second component was the tithe of survival. Another 10% was designated for an emergency fund. This money was there for crises, not for impulsive purchases. Its only purpose was to give peace of mind and protection against the unexpected. The third component was the tithe of wisdom. 10% was designated for education and personal growth. Books, courses, seminars, any investment that increased knowledge and skills. Because they understood that the best investment is investment in oneself. The fourth component was the tithe of gratitude. 10% was designated to help others. Charity, donations, support for family members in need. Not because they had leftover money, but because they understood that money given returns multiplied. The fifth component was the life budget. The remaining 60% was carefully distributed among all needs and some pleasures of daily life. Housing, food, transportation, entertainment, everything had its assigned place. Does it seem restrictive? At first it might seem so, but after applying this system for a month, something extraordinary happens. You discover you have more available money than before, not less. Why? Because when every dollar has a specific purpose, you completely eliminate financial waste. Most people spend 80% of their income on things they don't remember buying. Small expenses that seem insignificant, but when added up, devour income. The sacred budget eliminates this financial bleeding. But the most powerful thing about the sacred budget isn't how much money it helps you save. It's the mindset you develop by using it. You develop a mindset of organized abundance. You no longer feel scarcity because you know exactly how much money you have and what it's designated for. You also develop a mindset of control. For the first time in your life, you feel like you have the reins of your finances instead of your finances having the reins of your life. This feeling of control dramatically reduces financial stress and increases confidence in your ability to create wealth. How do you implement the sacred budget immediately? Start with your next paycheck. Before spending it on anything else, automatically separate 40% according to the 4 tithes: future, emergencies, wisdom, and gratitude. The remaining 60% you distribute among your real needs. At first it might feel tight. It might seem like you don't have enough money to live comfortably, but this will force you to do something you had never done before. Distinguish between what you need and what you want. You'll discover you need much less than you thought. You'll also discover something surprising. When you have clear limits for each spending category, you enjoy each purchase you make more, because you know it's within your plan, not in conflict with your goals. The sacred budget works because it's based on deep psychological principles. It satisfies your need for security with the emergency fund. It satisfies your need for growth with the investment in education. It satisfies your need for contribution with donations. It satisfies your need for pleasure with the life budget. But most importantly, it satisfies your need for hope with automatic savings. Each month you see your fund for the future grow. Each month you feel like you're getting closer to financial freedom. Each month you verify that you have power to change your economic destiny. The moment you implement the sacred budget is the moment you go from being a passive consumer to being an active creator of wealth. It's the moment you stop reacting to your financial circumstances and begin creating them consciously. The sacred budget isn't just a financial tool. It's a declaration that you have a plan for your life, and that plan includes abundance, security, and freedom. Family Financial Alliance. One of the most important observations Napoleon Hill made about prosperous Jewish families was that they didn't treat finances as an individual matter, but as a collective family project. Each family member, regardless of age, was part of the Family Financial Alliance. This wasn't a financial dictatorship where one person made all decisions. It was a financial democracy where everyone had voice, vote, and responsibility. It was a team with a common goal: long-term family prosperity. Why is this approach so powerful? Because it exponentially multiplies the family's capacity to generate wealth. Instead of having one person working toward prosperity, you have an entire family working toward the same objective. Instead of having one mind thinking about opportunities, you have several minds collaborating. The Family Financial Alliance is based on 5 fundamental agreements. The first agreement is total transparency. There are no financial secrets among family members. Everyone knows the family income, family expenses, family debts, and family goals. This transparency creates trust and allows everyone to make informed decisions. The second agreement is shared responsibility. Each family member has specific responsibilities related to family finances. Children can be in charge of comparing prices before making large purchases. Teenagers can research investment opportunities. Adults can specialize in different financial areas. The third agreement is continuous financial education. The family commits to learning together about money, investments, business, and wealth creation. They read financial books together, attend seminars together, discuss investment opportunities together. Financial knowledge becomes family patrimony. The fourth agreement is mutual support for individual goals. Each member has personal financial goals, but the entire family supports those goals when they're aligned with general family prosperity. If a member wants to study a career that will increase family income, the whole family contributes to that education. The fifth agreement is celebration of financial achievements. When the family reaches a savings goal, when someone receives a raise, when an investment gives good results, they celebrate together. This psychologically reinforces the connection between intelligent financial behavior and positive emotions. How does this alliance work in practice? Imagine a family where the 15-year-old son is an expert at comparing prices online before any purchase over $200. The 12-year-old daughter is in charge of finding coupons and discounts for family purchases. The mother specializes in long-term investments. The father specializes in generating additional income. Instead of each one acting separately, their efforts combine and amplify each other. The result is a family that saves more, earns more, and grows financially faster than families where each member acts individually. But the benefits go beyond the economic. Children who grow up in a family financial alliance develop financial intelligence from an early age. They learn to see money as a tool, not a mystery. They learn to work as a team toward common goals. They learn that individual success is connected to family success. The Family Financial Alliance also eliminates one of the main destroyers of wealth: internal financial conflicts. Instead of family members competing with each other for limited resources, they collaborate to increase the resources available to everyone. How do you implement a family financial alliance? Start with a family meeting where you declare the intention to create family prosperity by working together. Explain that it's not about restrictions but about multiplying everyone's opportunities. Establish monthly family financial meetings where you review progress toward goals, celebrate achievements, and plan next steps. These meetings shouldn't be sermons about saving money, but brainstorming sessions about how to create more family abundance. Assign specific financial responsibilities to each member according to their age and abilities. An 8-year-old child can be in charge of turning off unnecessary lights to reduce the electric bill. A teenager can research the best savings accounts for the family. Create exciting family financial goals. Instead of just saving abstract money, save for a family vacation, to improve the house, for the children's education fund. Specific and exciting goals motivate more than general and boring goals. Celebrate every small progress. When you save your first $1,000, celebrate. When you reduce family expenses by 10%, celebrate. When someone gets additional income, celebrate. Celebrations reinforce correct behaviors. The Family Financial Alliance teaches all members that wealth isn't something that happens by chance, but something that's created intentionally by working together. It teaches that every dollar counts, every decision matters, and every member has power to influence the family financial destiny. When your family becomes a financial alliance, you not only multiply your capacity to create wealth, but you create a legacy of prosperity that will be transmitted from generation to generation. Children who grow up seeing their parents work intelligently with money become adults who handle money intelligently. The Family Financial Alliance transforms wealth creation from an individual struggle into a collective adventure. And collective adventures are always more effective, more fun, and more successful than individual struggles. Money is energy. The fifth and deepest secret. Napoleon Hill discovered in prosperous Jewish families was their understanding that money isn't just paper currency or numbers in a bank account. Money is energy. It's crystallized energy that can flow, stagnate, multiply, or disappear according to the laws that govern all energy in the universe. This understanding completely revolutionized their relationship with abundance. They didn't see money as something that accumulates indefinitely, but as something that must flow constantly to stay alive and growing, like a river that becomes crystal clear when it flows and becomes a swamp when it stagnates. Why is this perspective so financially powerful? Because it changes your fundamental relationship with money from static accumulation to dynamic circulation. Instead of trying to save all the money that comes into your hands, you begin looking for intelligent ways to make it circulate so it returns multiplied. The families Hill studied had discovered a universal law. Money that's given strategically returns amplified. Not by magic, but by real psychological and social principles. When you help others prosper, you create a network of relationships that naturally seeks ways to help you prosper too. But here's the key. Not any donation or help produces this multiplying effect. It must be strategic donation that genuinely helps others improve their capacity to generate wealth. Not charity that creates dependency, but investment that creates capacity. How does this law work in practice? When you invest money in someone's education, that person develops skills that increase their income. A part of that additional income naturally flows back toward you in the form of gratitude, references, business opportunities, or mutually beneficial partnerships. When you help someone solve an important financial problem, that person becomes an ally who will look for ways to reciprocate your help. When you invest in the growth of someone else's business, that prosperous business becomes a source of opportunities for you. The difference between this strategic investment in others and traditional charity is the focus. Traditional charity focuses on alleviating present suffering. Strategic investment focuses on increasing future capacity. Both are valuable, but only the second activates the law of multiplied return. How much money should flow this way? The families Hill studied designated between 5 and 10% of their income to this type of investment in others. Not leftover money they gave away when they felt generous, but a fixed percentage they invested strategically each month. But money is energy that flows in more directions than just toward others. It must also flow toward your own growth and development. Each month, a part of your income must become knowledge, skills, connections, and tools that increase your capacity to generate wealth in the future. This investment in your own growth isn't an expense. It's the most profitable investment you can make. A $50 book that teaches you a new skill can generate thousands of additional dollars in income. A $500 course that improves your professional capabilities can result in a salary increase of thousands of dollars monthly. Money must also flow toward assets that work for you while you sleep. Investments, businesses, properties that generate passive income. This is the difference between working for money and making money work for you. When you understand that money is energy, you look for ways for that energy to reproduce automatically. How do you immediately apply this understanding of money as energy? Start by identifying a person in your circle who is struggling financially, but has potential and willingness to grow. Invest a small amount in their education or in the tools they need to improve their situation. Don't do it expecting an immediate and specific return. Do it trusting that you're activating the law of energetic flow that will eventually bring abundance to your life from unexpected directions. Keep a record of these investments not to collect them, but to observe how the universe responds to your strategic generosity. Simultaneously, identify the area of greatest growth potential in your own financial life. Do you need to develop new skills? Do you need better tools? Do you need more knowledge about investments? Designate a fixed monthly amount to feed your own growth. Also, begin identifying opportunities to make your money work for you. This can start with small and safe investments, like savings accounts that generate interest, and gradually evolve toward more sophisticated investments as your financial knowledge increases. Understanding money as energy also changes your relationship with expenses. Instead of seeing each expense as a loss, you begin evaluating each expense according to the type of energy it's releasing. Does this expense increase my capacity to generate wealth? Does it improve my quality of life significantly? Does it contribute to my long-term goals? Expenses that don't meet any of these criteria are unnecessary dispersion of energy. Expenses that do meet them are intelligent investments of energy that will eventually return multiplied. When you truly understand that money is energy, you develop a financial intuition that guides you toward increasingly intelligent decisions. You begin feeling when an investment opportunity has the right energy and when it doesn't. You begin identifying people who are on the energetic frequency of abundance and people who are on the frequency of scarcity. The moment you begin seeing and treating money as energy that must flow to multiply is the moment you align with the natural laws of abundance. You no longer struggle against these laws trying to accumulate static money, but collaborate with them to create dynamic flows of growing wealth. Money as energy doesn't get depleted when used correctly, it multiplies. It doesn't get lost when invested wisely, it transforms into greater abundance. We've traveled together through the 5 fundamental secrets Napoleon Hill discovered in the most prosperous Jewish families of his era. These aren't theoretical concepts or abstract philosophies. They're practical principles that have created real wealth for generations and that you can begin applying from today. The first secret was mastering the inner beast through the principle of 7 days of waiting before any non-essential purchase. This principle alone can transform your finances in just a few weeks by eliminating the economic bleeding of impulsive purchases. The second secret was developing survivor mentality that seeks opportunities instead of excuses, solutions instead of culprits. This mentality not only increases your income, but makes you the conscious architect of your financial destiny. The third secret was implementing the sacred budget that designates 40% of your income to the 4 fundamental pillars: future, emergencies, wisdom, and gratitude. This system gives you total control over your money and eliminates financial anxiety forever. The fourth secret was creating a family financial alliance where all members work together toward common prosperity. This alliance exponentially multiplies your capacity to generate wealth and creates a legacy of abundance for the next generations. The fifth secret was understanding that money is energy that must flow strategically to multiply. This understanding activates the natural laws of abundance and attracts wealth from unexpected directions. Each of these principles alone can change your financial life, but when all five work together, they create a transformation that goes far beyond money. They create a transformation in your character, your family, your purpose, and your legacy. Do this for just one day, and you'll open a door you'll never want to close. Because when you experience the power of having conscious control over your money, when you feel the peace of having a clear plan for your future, when you discover you can directly influence your financial destiny, something changes forever inside you. You're no longer a victim of economic circumstances. You become the creator of your economic circumstances. You no longer depend on luck, government, or your boss for your financial security. Your financial security depends on correct principles applied consistently. The wealth these principles create isn't just material. It's wealth of character, wealth of relationships, wealth of purpose. It's the wealth that comes from knowing you have the tools to prosper, regardless of what challenges the world economy faces. These 5 secrets have survived wars, economic crises, persecutions, and radical technological changes. They've worked in different countries, in different eras, with different currencies. They'll work for you if you decide to apply them with the same determination these families have applied them for generations. The question isn't whether these principles work. History has repeatedly demonstrated they do work. The question is whether you have the discipline to apply them consistently until they become automatic habits that transform your financial reality. Your financial future is built day by day, decision by decision, principle by principle. Each day you postpone applying these secrets is one less day you have to enjoy their benefits. Each day you apply them is one day closer to the financial freedom you deserve. You don't need perfect conditions to begin. You don't need more money than you have now. You don't need a better job or different circumstances. You only need the decision to apply these principles with constancy and faith in their transformative power. The time to begin is now. The place to begin is where you are. The resources to begin are what you already have. The only question that remains is, are you ready to open that door you'll never want to close? If this content has resonated with you, if you felt these principles can transform your financial reality, then this is the moment to take action. First, subscribe right now to this channel and activate the notification bell. Here you'll find every week additional secrets of Napoleon Hill's financial wisdom and the most successful wealth creation traditions in the world. But more important than subscribing is to immediately begin applying what you've learned. Don't wait until tomorrow. Don't wait until next month. Start today with the first secret. Before making any purchase that isn't absolutely essential, wait 7 days. Implement this principle with your next buying temptation. Second, implement the sacred budget with your next income. Automatically separate 40% according to the 4 tithes you learned. 10% for the future, 10% for emergencies, 10% for your education and growth, 10% to strategically help others. Third, call a family meeting this very week to propose creating a family financial alliance. Explain these principles to your family and propose working together toward common financial goals. If you live alone, find someone trustworthy who can be your accountability partner in applying these principles. Fourth, immediately identify a way to make your money work for you. It can be as simple as opening a savings account that generates interest, or as sophisticated as starting a small investment. The important thing is to begin the flow of money that works for you while you sleep. Fifth, find a person in your circle who needs help improving their financial situation and invest a small amount in their growth. It could be paying for a course, buying work tools, or simply sharing these same principles. Consciously activate the law of money's energetic flow. Each week, return to this channel to deepen these principles and learn new wealth creation secrets. But don't become a passive consumer of financial information. Become an active implementer of financial principles. Knowledge without application is just entertainment. Share this content with 3 people you know need to transform their financial reality. When you help others prosper, you activate the same laws that will attract prosperity to your own life. Shared abundance multiplies, accumulated abundance stagnates. If you decide to apply these 5 principles during the next 90 days, your financial life will change in ways you can't even imagine today. Not because these principles are magical, but because they're based on universal laws that have worked for centuries. Within 90 days, you'll be writing a comment on this channel telling us how these principles transformed your relationship with money, your level of financial stress, and your confidence in your ability to create abundance. We'll be waiting to read your transformation story. Remember, a single day of applying these principles might be enough so you never want to go back. Because when you experience the power of having conscious control over your money, when you feel the peace of having a clear plan, when you discover you can create your own financial destiny, you can no longer live any other way. The secret of Jewish wealth that Napoleon Hill revealed isn't just for some special people. It's for anyone who has the discipline to apply correct principles consistently. It's for you if you decide you deserve abundance and are willing to work intelligently to create it. Your new financial life begins now. Subscribe, implement, share, and transform. The prosperous future you deserve is waiting for you on the other side of your decision to apply these principles. See you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the most powerful secrets to create real and lasting wealth.